And we are back with the fourth segment of the GSMC Basketball Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Sports Network. And in this fourth segment, we are going to talk about the possibility of Stephen Curry going up against Sabrina Ionescu in a three-point shooting contest. Now, this is only a possibility. This wasn't confirmed by anybody yet, so I don't know if this is happening, but this was mentioned earlier in the Warriors versus Kings in their pregame shoot-around, where Steph Curry was caught on the hot mic saying some things, having some ideas for All-Star break. Obviously, Curry has plans for competing in the three-point shooting contest as he does every single year, and he's going to try and win as he does almost every single year. But he introduced a little twist. So towards the end, or maybe a different segment altogether, he's thinking of going against Sabrina Ionescu from the WNBA. Now, Sabrina is a guard from the University of Oregon who is now playing for the New York Liberty. And she holds the reason why Steph Curry wants to go up against her, in his words, quote unquote. He was talking about this to a teammate in the shoot-around, and he was asking who holds the record for most points in a three-point shooting contest. And as of right now, Sabrina holds the record not just for the WNBA, but for the NBA as well. So obviously, Stephen Curry having the reputation of being the best three-point shooter of all time, and previously holding the NBA record for most points in a three-point shooting game, it's almost like his reputation is sort of on the line, I guess you could say. So obviously, he wants to challenge her, and obviously those were his words saying that he would like to settle this once and for all. It would be a very fun matchup, I think, and I'm not sure if there was difference in the court's geometry, like the size of where the three-point line is, where she shot the ball, and the size of the ball, but that doesn't matter because holding that three-point record for both the WNBA and the NBA is impressive because, like we say, the NBA is full of the talent and it's full of amazing players now. So the fact that she holds that record for both genders is really impressive. So if the NBA allows them to follow suit, this could be, I think this is this would be the first time, at least in a while, that in pro sports where men are going to be able to compete against women in the sport, at least in pro televised sport. I'm not sure if that usually happens, but it's usually women going against women and then men going against men. So I don't know if this has ever been done in any type of competition standpoint other than the celebrity games where it's you could see Quavo going up against, I don't know, little Ice Spice or something like that. I have no idea. Just to give a few. You could see a WNBA player just going up against Quavo or Kevin Hart or something like that. But regardless, it's it would be a really cool matchup. Steph is largely considered by many to be the greatest shooter on planet Earth and the greatest shooter to ever be made. But he doesn't hold the record. So I'm not sure if doing this is allowed and how it will be handled, if they're both going to be dealing with the exact same format of the three-point shooting contest, or it's just going to be them shooting at the same time, seeing who can make more shots in a row, or seeing who can make more shots given their shooting rack. Now, obviously, there is a difference in dimension between the basketball and the size of not the size of the hoop, but the height of the rim. So I'm not sure if that will also get changed or adjusted given the competition that they're going to have. But if it does, that'll be interesting to see how they handle it or how the fans react if they don't change it and they just let her shoot with her WNBA standards and let Curry shoot with his NBA standards. But I think it could go either way. Depending on who has the hot hand, is going to end up being the one that ends up winning this competition. I also don't know if, like, I haven't been paying attention much with WNBA games because most of the time, like, when they're on, it's a little bit inconvenient for me to watch them when they are on because, like, I'd be working. Most of the time they're playing in the summer, and I'd be doing, like, other things. But apart from that, based on what I've seen, like, in her three-point shooting competition and her debut, again, like, since they're not in season, it's a possibility that she might not win this simply because, like, she doesn't have her touch. However, at the same time, it's like, this would be a great competition, and I feel like this would draw in a lot of viewers. And a lot of people like myself will pick Curry to win, but I just wanted to say that she is a great talent. She's not a bad athlete or a bad shooter. She's definitely a great shooter, and she is definitely a worthy competition for Steph. A lot of people like to make fun of the WNBA for not being as good and not having, like, the same talent as NBA players, in their games being a little bit boring, their viewership being low. But I'm not one of those people. I like each sport and each gender, and I watch all of them. I watch NCAA women's basketball as much as I watch men's NCAA basketball. And the WNBA games don't really come on at times that are convenient, like I mentioned earlier. It's just, he's Stephen Curry. It's like, it's really difficult to argue against Stephen Curry in a three-point shooting competition, no matter who his competition is. He's known for getting hot in so many of these competitions, so I obviously think he's going to show out in this one and absolutely run away with it. I was actually at the game where Steph Curry broke the three-point shooting record in Madison Square Garden. So that was a great atmosphere. Everyone was ready for him to do it. It was crazy how that's one of the games I can say that I've been to, and it was one of the games that a lot of people didn't believe was going to happen. Like, before Stephen Curry, many people didn't think that three-point record was going to be broken. But turns out that all of them were wrong in the end. But regardless, like, this is still worthy competition for Stephen Curry, even though Stephen Curry, like, has so many more three-pointers under his belt. I think, like, if she has the hot hand, she could make a lot of noise. And that goes with a lot of shooters, because it's like you have to be on that night. It's like, if you're not on that night, it could happen with anyone. Like, I mean, if you want to look at baseball, I remember Juan Soto was going up against Ohtani in the home run derby, and Ohtani lost. Now, he was the favorite to win the entire thing. So the fact that he lost in the first round was like, wow, how could this happen? So I wouldn't put it past anyone to beat anyone in terms of, like, when it comes to shooting, but I will give Steph that edge simply because he is Stephen Curry. And with that, we are out of time, and this is the end of the segment. So thank you guys once again for tuning into the GSMC Basketball Podcast. And as always, I remind you guys to tip and donate. Really makes the show much more interactive between myself, the host, you guys, the viewers. Be sure to tune in on next week, where I once again will recap some of the games that happened this weekend. Be sure to watch some of these games as well. And not only that, there's also some football going on this weekend, so also pay attention to that. But obviously basketball, I'm going to be paying attention to basketball and football, doing both at the same time. So I'm your host, Nelson, and as always, take care.